The storm outside was nothing compared to the storm inside his heart. Malcolm Carter stood by the tall window of his Atlanta penthouse, watching raindrops race down like tears. To the world, he was a self-made black millionaire, sharp suit, sharp mind, known across the South for his business empire. But at home, he felt invisible. Tonya, his wife, only smiled when she was spending. His daughter, Nia, barely spoke to him without her phone in hand. Only his youngest, Jamal, ever paused to ask, "How you doing, Dad?" That night, Malcolm made a decision that would change everything. He picked up the phone and called his assistant. "Reggie," he said calmly, "pull the trigger. Move everything to the private account. Pause the companies. And don't tell a soul I'm still wealthy." "You sure about this, Mr. Carter?" Reggie asked. "I've never been more sure. I need to know who's really riding for me and who's just riding the lifestyle." What happened next? It broke more than hearts. It broke illusions. The next morning, Malcolm Carter gathered his family in the living room. The rain had stopped, but the air inside their upscale Atlanta penthouse was thick with tension, like something was about to break. Tonya, his wife, strolled in wearing a silk robe and holding a half-empty mimosa. "You woke me up for what, Malcolm? This better be important." Nia, their daughter, didn't even look up from her phone. "Daddy, if this is another family talk, I've got a video to finish editing." Only Jamal, their youngest, sat up straight and watched his father with quiet concern. "You okay, Dad?" Malcolm gave him a small smile. "We need to talk. It's serious." Tonya rolled her eyes. "Spit it out then." Malcolm took a deep breath. "I lost everything. The accounts are frozen. The companies are on pause. We have to leave the city today." The mimosa glass slipped from Tanya's fingers. "You're kidding me." "I wish I was," Malcolm replied. "We're moving to my father's old house, back in South Carolina." A tense silence. Then Nia gasped. "The country? Where there's no Wi-Fi? You trippin'. Daddy, that ain't even funny." Jamal leaned forward. "Is this really happening?" Malcolm nodded. "It's all we have now." Tanya's voice turned sharp. "You mean to tell me you fumbled the bag this bad? After all I sacrificed to be here with you." He didn't answer. He just stood, turned, and walked away. His hands trembled slightly, hands that once signed million-dollar deals. Jamal followed and gently tugged his arm. "We got this, Dad. Don't worry." Those words struck deep. They echoed the voice of Malcolm's own father, long gone now. He remembered watching his dad wake before sunrise to clean offices, hands raw from mops and bleach. "A man ain't his wallet," his father had once said. "He's what's left when the wallet's empty." He thought about those days. Tonya in cheap sneakers, counting change for ramen noodles while he worked the night shift. Back then, love was loud. Struggles made them laugh. Now, money had made them mute. By sundown, they were packed. No more staff, no drivers. Just a second-hand Honda that his assistant Reggie had found for the plan. They drove through back roads and fading sunlight until they reached a worn-out cottage surrounded by trees and silence. The ride itself was a trial. Tonya groaned the whole way. "This seat got no back support. My hips hurt, Malcolm," she snapped, twisting in her seat. She looked behind at Nia. "You okay, baby?" Nia was scrolling through old Instagram drafts. "Can we stop somewhere with signal? I'm trying to schedule my post." Jamal chuckled softly. "Y'all realize none of this matters anymore, right?" Tonya turned sharply. "Don't you start sounding like your father." Malcolm didn't speak. He just focused on the road. Every bump reminded him he was alone in this. Almost. As the sun dropped behind the trees, they arrived. Tonya stepped out first. "Oh, hell no. Malcolm, this is not it." Nia hesitated before stepping out, then quickly pinched her nose. "This whole place smells like sweat and would rot." E.W. The house was a small wooden cabin with peeling paint, a sagging porch, and a rusted mailbox leaning to one side. A place filled with ghosts of a past Malcolm had buried under skyscrapers and stocks. "This house belonged to my father," Malcolm said quietly. "We'll make it work." Tonya scoffed. "Make it work? I've lived in high-rises with valet. You expect me to sleep in this shack? Inside, the place was worse. Cobwebs, old furniture, 2 plastic chairs, a dusty kitchen. Jamal quietly started sweeping without being told. From the open window, neighbors peered out. A small boy pointed and whispered to his older sister, "That's them rich folks? Why they living here now?" "I'm not doing this," Tonya said, standing at the door. "You can keep your little poverty experiment." Nia rolled her eyes. "My ex's mama has a better house than this, and she lives off food stamps." Malcolm dropped the bags with a thud. "Enough. This is what we've got. You can complain or you can adjust." Only Jamal helped his dad carry the bags inside. That night, they lit a lantern that barely gave light. The 4 of them shared one mattress on the floor, listening to crickets and mosquitoes. Tonya kept slapping her arms. "These mosquitoes treat me like a buffet. I ain't never seen bugs this bold. They know which spots to hit." Nia tossed and turned. "This ain't real. Somebody wake me up." From outside came the sound of a rooster. Not crowing, just coughing. Jamal laughed softly. "Even the chicken here got asthma." Malcolm stared at the ceiling, wondering if this was all a mistake. Then came the whisper, "Dad." He turned to see Jamal looking up at him. "It's hard, but we'll be all right." Malcolm didn't speak. He just closed his eyes as a tear slid across his temple. That single moment was more honest than all the dinner parties and fake laughs they had ever shared. He had found one thing worth holding on to. But that was just the beginning. What would you do if you lost everything overnight? Would your family still stand by you? Let us know in the comments below. And the test had only just begun. If you're new here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Story Precious, and turn on the bell so you never miss stories that touch the soul. The next few days in the countryside peeled away the shine and silence that had once masked the cracks in Malcolm's family. Tonya refused to do anything that involved sweat. "My hands are not meant for this," she said, fanning herself with a paper plate. "I didn't marry into struggle." She sat outside most of the day under a borrowed umbrella, sipping water like it was wine and acting like mosquitoes were paparazzi. When her flip-flop broke one afternoon, she stared at it like it had betrayed her. "See? Even my shoes are tired of this nonsense."
Nia spiralt fast.
With no Wi-Fi, no Instagram filters, and no way to update her followers, she turned her frustration into sarcasm. Back in the city, her mornings started with coffee, a ring light, and a perfect caption. Now, silence, sweat, and a dead phone. "Y'all want to see the real me? Here I am. Country, crusty, and cancelled," she muttered, holding her phone to a mirrorless wall. The silence of the village made her restless. There were no horns, no deliveries, no glam squads. She often paced the tiny porch like a model on a runway made of cracked wood. Meanwhile, Jamal adapted. He woke up early with his father, learned how to sweep with palm fronds, even helped patch the broken roof with Malcolm. "This ain't so bad," he said, shirt off and laughing under the sun. "Feels like real life." Malcolm watched him and felt something stir. Pride, maybe even hope. One morning, Jamal caught a glimpse of his father praying silently by the garden. "Did Grandpa used to live like this?" he asked. Malcolm nodded. "Even harder. This ground fed our family when we had nothing." Jamal crouched beside him. "Then maybe this ground can heal us too." A neighbor named Aunt Lottie walked by, balancing a basket of plantains on her head. "Malcolm Carter," she called. "You really out here learning the soil, huh?" He smiled. "Trying to remember what matters." She nodded. "Sometimes, the roots remember even when we forget." One hot afternoon, Tonya noticed a man walking down the road in a crisp white outfit and snakeskin shoes. His name was Mr. Avery, a local deacon who owned 3 barber shops and had money stitched into his smile. His voice was smooth, and his confidence sharper than Tonya's city heels. She watched him like a hungry cat. The next day, she accidentally bumped into him at the corner stall. "I'm new here," she said, smoothing her wrap dress. "City girl stuck in the sticks." "You from around here?" Mr. Avery grinned. Born and raised. But you shine different. Their conversation was brief. But Tonya came back with a little more blush and a little less frustration. And Malcolm noticed. The next time Malcolm returned from the field, Tonya was gone. Again. Jamal was sweeping the porch. Nia was laying in the hammock complaining about a pimple. "Where's your mom?" Malcolm asked. "Went to get cooking oil," Jamal said. "But that was like 2 hours ago." Malcolm said nothing, just stared down the road. She returned before sunset. Hair freshly styled. Eyes bright. Bag in hand. "Market was busy," she said quickly, avoiding his gaze. That night, Malcolm sat with Jamal outside by the fire pit they'd built from bricks. "Sometimes," he said, staring at the flames, "you gotta let folks show you who they are." Jamal looked up. "You mean Mom?" "I mean everybody." The next morning, Malcolm tried teaching Nia how to use a hoe in the garden. She held it like it was cursed. "This? Nah, I got influencer wrists." Malcolm laughed softly. "Wrists don't grow food." Nia didn't respond. Tonya stayed inside reapplying the same lipstick that had lasted her through better days. "I ain't built for all this. I came from nothing. I ain't going back." Jamal? He showed up. Every morning. They tilled the soil, planted corn, watered their little plot. "You really learning quick," Malcolm said, wiping sweat from his neck. Jamal grinned. "I want to build something with you, Dad. Something that ain't fake." Malcolm paused. "That means more to me than all the companies I've owned." That evening, the family sat together eating boiled yam and beans. Tonya and Nia picked at their food like it offended them. Malcolm looked across the table. There were no clinking wine glasses, no fine china, just metal spoons, simple food, and a silence louder than luxury. At one point, Nia whispered to her mother, "If I post one more throwback, folks gonna think I died." Tonya chuckled, but it faded quickly. The masks were slipping, but what they revealed underneath might just break everything. If you're still with us, what do you think is the real test here, losing money or losing love? Let us know in the comments. And soon, every hidden truth would come to light. It was a hot, sticky afternoon when Malcolm saw what he'd been trying to ignore. He had finished early at the small patch of land behind the house, bringing back a few vegetables and ears of roasted corn. But as he walked past the old mango tree near the town's edge, he froze. Tonya was there, laughing, leaning a little too close to Mr. Avery. He had his arm propped on the fence, and she was touching his shoulder like they'd known each other for years. The man's gold chain caught the sun just right, and so did Malcolm's temper. But he didn't interrupt. He just watched, quiet, hurt. He turned and walked back slowly, each step heavier than the last. He remembered the nights he worked until 2 a.m. to build that business. The nights he slept in the office so his family could rest easy at home. Was all that just a backdrop for this betrayal? That night, Tonya came home with a plastic bag full of groceries. "Where'd you get all that?" Malcolm asked, his voice low. "Market lady gave me a discount," she said without blinking. "People here got Southern hospitality." Malcolm nodded, saying nothing, but his silence had started to harden. It wasn't anger anymore. It was distance. The next day, Nia strutted back from the village in new sandals and a pink top that clearly didn't come from the suitcase she packed. "Where'd that come from?" Jamal asked. Nia rolled her eyes. "Mr. D from the barber shop got taste. Said I shouldn't be walking around like a ghost." Jamal shook his head. "So that's how it is now? Don't judge me," she snapped. "At least somebody sees my worth." That evening, a woman stormed into their yard like thunder on 2 legs. "Where is she?" the woman yelled. "I know you in here, Nia." Nia walked outside slowly, chewing gum like the scene was beneath her. "Who are you yelling at like that?" "I'm the wife of that fool you been messing with," the woman shouted. "You think I won't drag you in front of this whole village?" Nia laughed. "Talk to your man. He's the one buying me stuff. Sounds like your marriage got Wi-Fi issues, sis." The woman lunged, but Jamal stepped between them. Malcolm came out just as the woman was leaving, muttering curses. He turned to Nia. "Is it true?" Nia shrugged. So what if it is? Ain't like you giving us anything. Malcolm didn't raise his voice. You're better than this. You're my daughter. Nia rolled her eyes. Well, maybe I'm tired of being broke. I used to be somebody. Now I'm just stuck in the mud, swatting flies. Later that night, Malcolm sat outside on an old bench. Jamal joined him. They don't care, Jamal said softly. Malcolm stared ahead.
No.
They care. Just not about what matters. Jamal rested his head against his father's shoulder. Tonya came outside briefly. Malcolm, you really letting this place break you, huh? He looked up at her. I already broke. You just didn't notice until now. She laughed bitterly. I ain't sign up to live like this. I deserve more. You had more, he said. But maybe you never saw it. Tonya stepped back, caught off guard by the calm in his voice. As she turned to go back inside, he added, when love comes easy, loyalty don't get tested. But when everything's gone, what stays is what's real. Jamal looked at him with wide eyes. So what now? Malcolm took a deep breath. Now we wait. They've made their choices. And so will I. Have you ever loved someone who only loved the lifestyle? Would you still wait for them to come back? Let's talk in the comments. The morning air was thick with tension. Jamal stood in the doorway, watching his mother pick through her old earrings, choosing a pair like she was heading to Sunday service. But this wasn't church. It was deception dressed in gold. Where you going again, Mama? He asked, voice calm. Tonya didn't look up. Out. Out where? She snapped the earring into place. Don't start with me, Jamal. He stepped closer. Why you always gone when we need you most? Tonya turned around, hand on her hip. I'm out here trying to survive, boy. Your daddy put us in this mess. No, Jamal said, steady. He just showed us who we really are. Tanya's face twisted, but she said nothing. She picked up her purse and walked past him, perfume lingering in the air like denial. That afternoon, she didn't go straight to Mr. Avery. Instead, she stopped by the village salon, where a few women were gathered, braiding hair and gossiping under the shade. Here she comes, one woman whispered. Tonya smiled at them and sat near the edge, pretending to admire a hairstyle. But their whispers crawled up her back like ants. I heard she was with the barber man. No shame at all, walking around like a queen when her husband's digging cassava. Tonya kept smiling, but her knuckles whitened around her purse. When she finally left, the sun had dimmed and her pride was bruised. Back home, Malcolm found a folded receipt near the nightstand. Golden Elm Lodge. Tanya's signature. He didn't react. He just placed it gently on her pillow. That evening, she came back earlier than usual. The air in the room was so still it crackled. She saw the receipt. Her fingers trembled. Her heart dropped. Malcolm didn't ask any questions. Didn't raise his voice. That silence was louder than shouting. Dinner was quiet. Nia barely touched her food. Jamal excused himself early. Tonya stared at her plate. Say what you gotta say, she whispered. Malcolm looked up. I already did. In the silence. In the sweat. In the days you walked away from us. She swallowed hard. You think you perfect? I think I stayed, he said. That answer hit her like a sermon with no choir. The next day, Jamal found his sister sitting outside with her phone against the sky, trying to catch a signal. You still chasing likes? Nia rolled her eyes. At least likes don't judge me. Jamal sat beside her. People gonna talk either way. What matters is who you choose to be. She didn't reply, but she didn't move either. For the first time, her silence sounded like listening. Later, as Malcolm hammered a loose board on the back door, a village kid ran up. Mister, some people at the market say your wife is now Mr. Avery's new sweetheart. Malcolm didn't flinch. He thanked the boy and returned to hammering. Tonya, who had heard it from the kitchen, froze with a wooden spoon in her hand. That night, Malcolm placed an envelope under Tanya's pillow. Inside, a letter. I've watched. I've waited. I've hoped. But hope without honesty is like water in a leaking cup. If you truly feel I've failed you, then maybe your path no longer includes me. You are free, Tonya. But don't mistake freedom for love. She read it 3 times. Her hands shook. That night, she didn't leave the house. She sat on the porch long after the others had gone to bed. The moonlight touched her bare feet, the only thing grounded in reality. She watched ants climb the porch rail, tirelessly working as one. Nia came out briefly, sat beside her mother. You okay? Tonya didn't respond. But for the first time in a long time, she didn't wear lipstick. Her silence wasn't pride, it was reflection. She just lay awake, staring at the cracks on the ceiling and the bigger ones inside her. Have you ever broken something and weren't sure if you could fix it? What would you do in Tonya's place? Drop your thoughts below. The morning sun crept through the cracks of the old wooden window. Tonya sat quietly on the edge of the bed, rereading the letter Malcolm had left her. Her fingers traced the words like they could change them. You are free, Tonya, but don't mistake freedom for love. It echoed in her head louder than any argument they'd ever had. Nia yawned from across the room. Her once polished nails were now chipped, her edges unlaid. She looked over at her mom. You good? Tonya nodded slowly. I don't know, baby. I really don't know. Out back, Jamal and Malcolm pulled weeds from the garden. Their hands worked in rhythm, no words needed. Every tug of a root felt like letting go of old pain. Pop, Jamal finally said. You think they'll ever get it? Malcolm stood, wiped his brow, and looked out at the trees. I don't know, but I'm done waiting for them to choose what's right. There was a time when Malcolm would have begged, pleaded, fought to hold the family together. But now he knew true love doesn't beg, it invites. That afternoon, Malcolm told Jamal to get in the car. We need to go somewhere. They drove past the village, past the stretch of dusty road where time seemed to slow, and reached a wide metal gate at the edge of the city. Jamal stared. What is this? Malcolm smiled and clicked a button. The gate opened, revealing a massive house sitting behind it. Clean lines, modern glass, a manicured lawn, and a water feature shaped like 2 hands lifting upward. Welcome home, Malcolm said. Jamal blinked. Wait, what? I never lost the money, Malcolm said softly. I just needed to see who was with me for real. Inside the mansion, the air was cool, the lights warm. Jamal touched everything like it might disappear. You built all this? I did, Malcolm said. But it meant nothing without the truth. That night, they ate dinner together. Just the 2 of them. No noise.
No tensión.
Just peace. Later, Malcolm stood in the master bedroom, looking out the tall window. He didn't feel triumphant, he felt tired. He thought about all the birthdays he missed, the moments he let money substitute presents. The next morning, Malcolm called Reggie. Let the village know I'm fine, he said. And let Tonya know. If she wants to come back, she can. But she's walking this time. No car. No ride.
No rescue.
Back in the village, word spread fast. Miss Tilda, the village gossip, ran straight to Tonya's compound. Girl, your husband, he back in the city. Rich, big house. Fine like a senator. Tonya nearly dropped the tin cup in her hand. Say what? I seen it with my own eyes, Miss Tilda said. Your son too. Lookin' like a prince in them fresh sneakers. Nia rushed outside. For real. Tonya walked inside, opened her drawer, and pulled out the letter again. This time, the words didn't just sting, they called. She sat at the foot of the bed for hours. The sun moved. The chickens clucked. She didn't blink. She remembered the first time Malcolm brought her roses. The late-night talks before the money came. The man who worked 3 jobs just to get her into night school. That man was still inside him. But was the woman who loved him still inside her? And then, quietly, she began to pack. If you were Tonya, would you go back and face the consequences? Or keep pretending pride was worth more than peace? Share your thoughts below. Some storms don't come to break you. They come to clear the path. The days that followed were quiet, but heavy with thought. Tonya sat on the edge of her bed, rereading the letter Malcolm had written. She had memorized every word by now, yet each time she read it, it cut deeper. You are free, Tonya, But don't mistake freedom for love. She looked around the tiny hut that had once echoed with her complaints about the lack of AC, the lumpy mattress, and the sound of roosters that didn't respect sleep. Nia was asleep on the mat, her scarf half off, her once glamorous glow dimmed by the rawness of village life. They had both chased comfort and lost something real. One morning, Tonya stood at the edge of the dirt road with a small bag in her hand. Nia stumbled out behind her. "Where are you going?" "To the city," Tonya said quietly. "To fix what I broke. If it's not too late." "You think he'll take you back?" Tonya met her eyes. "I don't know. But I can't stay here and act like I didn't destroy something sacred." She paused. "You coming?" Nia hesitated, then slowly shook her head. "Not yet. I'm not ready." Back in the city, Malcolm stood on the balcony, sipping coffee as the sun painted the skyline gold. Jamal stepped out beside him. "You miss her?" Jamal asked. Malcolm didn't answer immediately. "I miss the version of her that didn't need diamonds to feel valuable." "You'd take her back?" He sighed. "Only if she's real this time." Jamal nodded. "Sometimes, the fall teaches better than the climb ever could." That evening, a knock echoed through the mansion. Malcolm opened the door, and there she was. Tonya.
No wig.
No makeup, no jewelry, just her. "I'm not here to beg," she said. "I just wanted you to see me, as I am, not the woman who wore you down, the woman who wants to lift you up." Malcolm studied her. "What do you want, Tonya?" "A chance to try again. Not as your wife, not yet. Just as a woman trying to rebuild what she broke." He stepped aside slowly. "Come in." Jamal looked up from the hallway and smiled. "Hey, Mom." That night, Tonya sat with Jamal on the porch under the soft hum of city lights. "Why'd you forgive me so fast?" she asked quietly. Jamal shrugged. "Because you showed up." She looked down at her hands. "You always believed in him, even when I didn't." "I believed in what he taught me," Jamal said. "That love ain't loud. It's loyal." The next morning, Nia stepped out of a cab with a duffel bag and teary eyes. Malcolm stood at the door. "I got tired of pretending I was okay," she said. "I missed us." Malcolm hugged her.
No speeches.
Just warmth. Weeks passed. The mansion filled with new memories. Tonya helped Malcolm start a mentorship program for young fathers. She used her own story in workshops titled Healing After Mistakes. Nia began working on a podcast about identity and redemption, and her first episode, The Real Me, trended in their neighborhood. One evening, the family gathered around the table for dinner. Real dinner. Not silent, not forced, just full of laughter, stories, and the kind of peace money can't buy. After everyone went to bed, Malcolm sat down at his desk and pulled out a blank page. He began to write, "Dear broke me, thank you. Thank you for losing it all. Because in losing the world, I found my soul. I found my son's strength, my daughter's truth, my wife's fight, and most of all, I found me again. Not the man on magazine covers. The man who matters when the cameras turn off. Signed, rebuilt and rich in spirit." He folded the note and placed it in a drawer labeled Legacy. They had walked through fire, but the family came out gold. Lessons we can take from this story. Love isn't proven in luxury, it's revealed in struggle. When the comfort fades, the character shows. Loyalty isn't loud. It shows up quietly, consistently, when it matters most. Jamal didn't say much, but his presence said everything. Pride can cost you everything if you let it speak louder than your heart. Tonya and Nia had to lose what was fake to realize what was real. Sometimes, hitting rock bottom is the only way to rebuild on solid ground. A personal reflection from the storyteller. This story isn't just about wealth or betrayal. It's about rediscovery. About a man who stripped away the noise to hear the truth. About a boy who became a bridge. And about women who learned that real value isn't worn. It's lived. Too often we chase the sparkle and miss the soul. But the soul, the core of love, family, and self-worth, that's what really makes us rich. If this story moved you, even just a little, leave a comment below and tell us. What would you do in Malcolm's shoes? Hit that like button, share this story with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Story Precious for more powerful, emotional stories that hit home. We drop new videos every week. Stories of strength, love, and redemption from voices that deserve to be heard. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. Dear viewers, would you have forgiven Tonya? Can broken trust be healed? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, stay blessed.